following show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Good morning, it's 98 FM's Dublin Talks. My name is Jeremy Dixon and I am your host for the next 2 hours with Friday's edition of 98 FM's Dublin Talks. It's the show for you, for Dubliners, where we discuss and debate the issues of the day with you, the listeners. Now, if there's a topic you're talking about, there's chances are that we're going to be talking about it now, between now and midday. Now, here are the ways that you can contact us on the show. Text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98, 0877 98 98 98, or better still, call us on 6797 981. That's 6797 981. We do prefer to hear by calls, I should say, but you can text or WhatsApp as well. Whatever way you want to contact us is fine by me. Text or WhatsApp 087 98 98 98. Adrian's on a day off, so it's yourself and myself for the next 2 hours. And here's a rundown of what's coming up on the show between now and midday today. In a couple of moments, you heard it there in Darren's sports bulletin, booing took place at the Aviva Stadium last night. A friendly match that wasn't so friendly between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. And booing took place during both national anthems, and there's been widespread condemnation of it on social media over the last couple of hours. We're going to be dealing with that in a moment and finding out, well, why are people so infantile? Why can people not move on? Why do people feel the need to boo at a national anthem? I know there's a history there, and I know the whole God Save the Queen thing, it upsets a lot of people, but it's my firm belief that you should never boo at any national anthem. But we'll be dealing with that in a couple of moments. Also, we'll be going live to the scene of the latest gangland shooting. It's come to the stage, I don't know about you, but for me, certainly, when I hear about a gangland shooting, I don't even get surprised by it. I'm not shocked by it anymore. There was a time when if somebody was shot dead, it would be headline news for weeks and weeks and weeks. And now we've sort of become desensitized to it, and we hear about someone being shot dead, and it's like, oh, another shooting. We'll have the details of that, and as I said, we'll be going live to the scene in about 10 minutes or so. Also, it's Friday, so we want to hear your good news as well. We always do this on a Friday where we ask you to text us in your good news if there's something happening in your life that you want to share with us. In fact, you can get it in now. Text or WhatsApp 087 798 98 98. 087 798 98 98. If you have some good news that you want to share with us, you share it with us and we'll share it with the rest of our listeners. And just before 11 o'clock, new laws are to be brought in to ban tattoos and intimate piercings for people who are under the age of 18. You may not be aware of this, but up until now there's never been a law against 16 or 15-year-olds getting piercings or tattoos. Now, most tattoo parlours or piercing parlours wouldn't do it to a person who's under 16, but they could still do it legally. Well, that's all about to change, and we'll be talking to a piercer from Dublin who believes that it's a bit of a nanny state to make it illegal for 16-year-olds to get a piercing. So we'll be talking about that just before 11 o'clock. All that and lots more besides between now and midday today. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks. My name is Jeremy Dixon, and sitting opposite me there is 98 FM Sports' Darren Cleary. How are you?
I'm very well, Jeremy.
Now, the reason I have you here with me is, I'm sure most of you are aware at this stage of what happened at the Aviva Stadium last night. Northern Ireland took on the Republic of Ireland in a friendly match that turned out not to be that friendly after all, because during the playing of both national anthems, it has to be said, there were booing from the crowds. What happened, Darren?
Basically, the Republic of Ireland played Northern Ireland. It was a friendly. There have been a couple of initiatives this week to foster relations, I suppose, between the two national teams that you wouldn't really see. Usually when a team comes here for a friendly, they jet in, they train, they play the game, they go home. But there were a couple of things this week where Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland teams gathered together to try and do some stuff. So they visited a children's hospital together, players from both nations. They went and they had a special event in the Mansion House, I think, yesterday as well.
Which is very rare, as you said, for two football teams.
It's unheard of, Germany. If Germany came here, they wouldn't be visiting children's schools with the Ireland players. If England came here, France came here, it's unheard of. So it seemed like there was a very cordial and decent relationship between these people, the North and the South, before the game, but that was blown away at kick-off when a few mindless morons decided that it was appropriate to boo throughout God Save the Queen and cheer. And some of this stuff, Jeremy, it wasn't just booing and cheering. There were some choice words, language I've seen in videos on Twitter. We have a clip here if you've got that fader ready to go, and I can give you a sense of what was heard during the national anthem here. A couple of choice words as well that we've blocked out.
God Save the Queen obviously playing in the background there. I know it's very noisy. It's a football stadium.
Well, football stadiums aren't meant to be noisy during the anthems.
No, they're not.
The noise is meant to be people singing their anthem.
Okay, but we're going to touch on this for a moment. I want to hear from you. Text or WhatsApp us now on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. You can text or WhatsApp, and I want your feeling on this. I want to find out from you how you feel about this. People booing during the national anthem at the Aviva last night. Let's talk about the God Save the Queen first, because was that the national anthem that was playing first? Would I be right to say?
Yeah, the away team plays first.
Yeah, so that was played before Aron Levine. And why did they feel the need to do it? I mean, so there it is. This is obviously just God Save the Queen. This isn't from the match last night. And for some strange reason, when not all people, I mean, it doesn't bother me when I hear that, but for a lot of people, when they hear that sound, it just sparks something in them. And I don't know, to say it was a small group of people, Darren, from the videos I saw, it was quite a sizable amount of people who booed.
It started with a small group, Jeremy, and then the mob mentality kicks in. So people who I suppose went there with no intentions of doing anything disrespectful then join in because the people around them are booing. I would say it started with a couple of dozen people booing and hollering, and by the end of it was quite a sizable group. But I've seen a lot of videos as well from people at the match who said this is disgraceful. Regardless of whether or not it sits well with you to hear Northern Ireland belt out God Save the Queen, you have to respect that they are from a different culture, and history has been very, very different on that part of this island.
Okay, let me read out some of the messages and keep those messages coming in. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. How do you feel about people booing during God Save the Queen? These people are stuck in the dark ages, says Kenneth. They need to move on. As Darren says, it's just a mob. And on the opposite side of it, Jonathan says, how can you expect anything less given our history, Darren?
I understand the historical context. I understand that there's a very uneasy relationship with partition on this island, and it goes back to the turn of the century, and those emotions are still very raw and they're very real. But you don't need anything to be respectful. It's okay to have those feelings and feel strong about what Northern Ireland is and their relationship with the British Crown, but at the same time you can respect them by just having the decency to shut up and respect their anthem. Whether or not you agree with it, you don't have to agree with it to respect it.
So that's what it's all about. It's just, I mean, going back in history of matches, have Ireland fans ever booed any other national anthem?
Well, when we played against England in Wembley, there were no booing for either national anthem. When England played here as well, there were no issues with the national anthem. So I was genuinely a little bit surprised to see that. I'd hoped that we got past that. When England play here in the rugby, there's never any issue when they're
that's what I wanted to bring up as well. When it happens, when Ireland play England in rugby, which they do a lot more frequently than they do in football. Okay, when Ireland play England in rugby, God Save the Queen is played at the start of all the matches, and you won't hear a whisper out of Irish rugby fans. So is this a supporter thing? Is this football supporters? Again,
I think it's a very small group of people who did something. I don't think they understood the full ramifications of how disrespectful it is to boo through an anthem. Likewise, the Northern Ireland fans didn't cover themselves in glory by booing Aron Levine or jeering James McLean every time he touched the ball, because that's obviously a bigoted view of what McLean's views are on the poppy, and there's obviously links there to the fact that he could have played for the North as well. So there are issues there, Jeremy, that I feel are a little bit more complex that people booing mightn't understand the ramifications of what that boo means. It might just be something they do in the spur of the moment because they feel, oh, God save the Queen, I shouldn't have to listen to it.
Yeah.
But there are ramifications in doing that, and I think the Irish fans are great away. The Irish soccer fans have been brilliant representatives of us as a country. You look back to the Euros and you look back to how decent they are in towns and what they're like on the road. I just think a minority of them brought shame on the majority, which is a real big disappointment.
So do you think, you're saying that, you know, it could be a mob mentality because you're in your group, but do you think that there are people who listen to when they hear this now on a radio station that are upset about that?
I say there are people who will turn off the radio because you're playing it. Yeah, I genuinely think there is.
Are you one of those people? Do those people? Am I living living under the ground here with my head under the ground? Are there people actually listening, as Darren says, that will get upset when they hear that? Why? Why are you stuck in the dark ages? This is bizarre. Thanks very much. 98 FM's Darren Cleary there filling us in on what happened at the Aviva last night. There's lots of calls coming in on this already. If you want to text your comments or WhatsApp, 0877 98 98 98 is the text or WhatsApp, or you can call us on 6797 981 if you're one of the people who was at. By the way, I don't expect to get anybody coming on the air to admit that they were one of the ones that booed at the match last night, because normally you're brain dead morons and you actually can't justify why you did it. Let me go to Angela. You just called in there. This brought a tear to your eye. Why?
I'm livid, and this is exactly one of the reasons why I cannot stand football. Like, one of the proudest moments in Irish rugby was when we played England in Croke Park.
Yes, I remember well.
And both stood for the God Save the Queen, holding our breaths, but knowing that we could be proud of every single supporter there who stood there and didn't open their mouths for God Save the Queen.
So why does it happen why did it happen during football but doesn't happen during rugby?
Because it's just, they're all hooligans. They're all scumbags to do this. Not all fans. I'm getting that in straight away. Not all fans, but it's like people like that who just can't see into the future. Now, I know Brexit is going on, and a lot of people are hyped at the moment, but those players on that pitch have nothing to do with it. They are wearing their jersey with pride.
But you heard from Darren himself. I don't believe this myself, but he said that when I played God Save the Queen there on the radio, that there are people who are, fit to kill and, or will probably even switch off the show over it. Do you believe those people exist?
I actually do.
Really?
I do. I really do. But they exist in certain sports.
Same people who support Manchester United probably, or Liverpool.
You see, this is what drives it. Oh, yeah, I'm a Man United fan, but F you, England.
Or do their shopping in Tesco on a Saturday.
To buy English brands. Just this mentality drives me crazy. That's why I wouldn't even watch it. I used to watch football years ago, but I can't anymore.
Yeah, well, I was embarrassed by it, I have to say, last night.
Absolutely mortified. And those people who did that are probably sitting laughing at the radio now. But it's like, you should hang yourselves in shame, your heads in shame, because you're nothing but scumbags. I think a lot of them last night were looking for an argument, because that's what they do. They go out, they try and rise people, what they'll do is they'll try and say, oh, we're nationalists, we're standing up for our country. No, you're not. You're shaming your country.
Okay, I'm just having a look. I'm having a look on Twitter here, and the Taoiseach Simon Coveney, who was at the match last night, put up a tweet, and he said, I'm embarrassed that a small number of idiots booed the national anthem of Northern Ireland tonight at the Aviva. It was a competitive friendly, and Northern Ireland were our guests tonight in Dublin. And he got a huge backlash to this, with people saying, well, God Save the Queen isn't the national anthem of Northern Ireland. And people getting pedantic about it. Stay there for a second, please, Angela. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. Is Angela being fair? She's saying that the people that booed during the national anthem last night are scumbags. If you just joined us, we're talking about the match that took place between Northern Ireland and the Republic last night in the Aviva, where both sets of fans, a small group of both sets of fans, booed during the national anthems. Jason, how are you? You're on 98 FM.
All right, Jeremy.
Grant, you think it's a mob mentality as well, is it?
It is. It's a mob mentality. And look, I'm a Republican, right? And there's no ordinary decent Republican that would boo the British national anthem. I don't care what anyone says, okay? The Good Friday Agreement was about moving on, progression towards the United Ireland, but respecting the fact that there are a section of people on this island that identify as British, and we're not going to change that. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to change that. So, now, can I just say, a lot of them people came down here from the north last night, and some of them got off a coach there, and they had a paratrooper's flag.
I heard that. Now, I haven't seen it myself, but I've seen people mention on Twitter.
Yeah, now that's provocative in its sense that, with Bloody Sunday and Ballymurphy massacre, that's pure provocation. There's no other reason for having a paratrooper flag at a match, right, or getting off the coach with it. And these mob mentality, especially on their side, and I say their side because they claim to be British, right, and they're doing Nazi salutes. The hypocrisy of it is absolutely ridiculous. They're there doing Nazi salutes, all these Tommy Robinson mob heads.
Oh, I know, it's ridiculous.
And they're doing Nazi salutes, for God's sake. The men and the people that died in World War I and II will be spinning in their grave.
So you, as a Republican, you're saying yourself, as a Republican, you completely condemn what happened in the Aviva last night.
Absolutely, because James McLean himself, he when he was in, he wouldn't stand for the British national anthem, but he respectfully turned to one side and bowed his head. That was respectfully not standing for it. Okay,
would you stand for God Save the Queen as a Republican?
Absolutely not. No, I wouldn't.
Okay, what would you have done if you were in the Aviva last night?
I would have just done nothing and stayed quiet, respectfully.
Would you have stood up?
No, I would not stand up for it, no.
Okay. Would you stand up for the national anthem of any other country if you were at a baseball game?
I would, yeah, I would.
Okay.
It's just a matter of principle on my part.
Okay. Yeah, but you're a Republican. I wouldn't expect...
But I'd be respectful about it, you see.
So what happened in the Aviva last night, and how do we get into these burr-brains heads? Because I'm sure some of them are listening. How do we get into their thick skulls?
I don't know, because some of them don't even accept the Good Friday Agreement. Some of them are just I don't know. They seem to think that there's people up in the north that identify as British, that all of a sudden one day they're just going to decide, do you know what? No, we're going to be Irish now. That's never going to happen. Or they're not going to all move over to Britain. That's never going to happen. We were colonised. The fact of the matter was, we were colonised so long ago that we have to accept that they're there and learn to get on with them and learn to live with them and include and become a united Ireland and allow them to be a bigger part of a united Ireland rather than a tiny little part of, Westminster, where they're, propping up a blatant Tory government. Okay,
stay there for a second, Jason. Let me just go to one more call on this. John, how are you? You're on 98 FM.
How are you, Jeremy? You well?
Grant, you want to clear something up? Go ahead.
Yeah, I need to clear it up because I've seen it on your Facebook feed this morning as well.
Yes.
It is not the English national anthem. That is the British national anthem. The Scots and the Welsh, they choose not to sing it, but that is the British national anthem. By definition, the Scots and the Welsh don't sing a national anthem at games.
No, they don't.
Because they're not singing the British. They're not singing "God Save the Queen."
But in fact, and this is where a lot of people get confused about this, about the whole national anthem and why it's played before Northern Ireland games. Why "God Save the Queen" is played, but it's not. When Northern Ireland compete in any other sport, you don't hear "God Save the Queen." So why does it happen during football matches?
Well, I mean, I'm more of a rugby support myself, Jeremy, and we have two national. Well, we have a national anthem, and then we have a song for the North. I mean, we pick and choose these things sometimes.
Yeah. So let's be clear. Northern Ireland does not have its own official national anthem.
No,
it doesn't. Yes.
No, because their official national anthem is "God Save the Queen." If you pledge allegiance to the Queen or the King, depending, then that is your national anthem.
Okay, to get away from this, then why have Northern Ireland or the Football Association of Northern Ireland, why have they not adopted a separate piece of music that'll stop all this?
I don't know, to be honest with you, and if they did, it might just. But maybe they're hard-headed about it. But I mean, like I said, the Scots and the Welsh have done it. I mean, I wouldn't have anything against them doing it. But what I just want to get out there is I just get sick and tired of people saying why they're singing the English national anthem. They are, by right, Jeremy, singing their true national anthem. Some may not like it up there, some may not like it down here. But if you're a country that pledges allegiance to the Queen and the Queen is on your money, then that is your national anthem.
So why did the Scots not do it then? That'd be my question.
Well, because, again, that goes with the Welsh. With the Welsh, I don't know, but with the Scots, I think it goes back because of the Scots and their independence and that kind of, that goes all the way back to Bruce and things like that. But that's why they choose not to sing it. And again, if the Northern Irish chose not to sing and they want to choose something else, I'd be the last person to give out about it. But They
okay,
are.
But I think that's the answer. Not that they're going to listen to us, but I think the answer is to get a new piece of music, because obviously that does ignite a lot of passion in people. That piece of music, God Save the Queen.
I wouldn't like it at all now, Jeremy. But if they chose it, both sides of the border chose to have Ireland's Call as their national anthem throughout the rugby and the football. If it saved a few boos, I'd welcome it.
Thanks very much for your call,
no
John.
Problem.
Cheers. And thanks, because a lot of people would need that cleared up. I remember when Northern Ireland played, it was a few years ago, and the match was on television, and people took to Twitter and they were outraged, and they couldn't understand why God Save the Queen was being played before a football match where Northern Ireland was playing. They were completely confused by the whole thing. But that is the answer. Northern Ireland does not have its own national anthem. They use God Save the Queen. Whether or not that's right or wrong, they only use it for football. I'm going to do a wrap up with some of your text messages straight after the break, and also we'll be talking about no-fry zones. It's in the news today. The news that we may not have fast food restaurants anywhere near schools anymore because it's in a bid to cut down on childhood obesity. Don't go away. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors, delivering your new bed in time for Christmas. DesKelly.ie. 98 FM.
It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Jeremy Dixon here live for a Friday. We'll be coming to no-fry zones in a second. I just want to wrap up with some of your text messages. Huge reaction to what happened at the Aviva last night. I watched the highlights last night. Disgraceful what happened during the national anthem. Very strange. Another example is booing at the Electricity League matches where it happens now and again domestically. Why can't they just change their football song, says this person. And Kevin says that as well. They just need to create a new football theme, not team, but theme, to play before the matches. That would stop all of this ridiculous behaviour. I wanted to bring my child to the match last night. Thank God I didn't go now. But you're always going to get that between two nations like that, or two teams like that, where you have that sort of anger. Football fans must be a moronic bunch. Absolutely ridiculous. I would say if you ask them a question about any piece of Irish history, they wouldn't have a clue. They just boo at everything. And Eamon says it was a sad night for Irish football. Thank you very much for all your calls, comments and texts. Now, in a bid to tackle childhood obesity, this is a drum. If you listen to this show regularly, this is a drum that I've been banging for years and years and years about childhood obesity. I really don't think it's been taken seriously in this country. Well, it was announced today that no-fry zones could be created around schools. A series of recommendations has been published on how to tackle childhood obesity. And one of those is to have no-fry zones, which basically means to keep fast food restaurants away from schools. That's what a no-fry zone is. It's an area around a school where, within a couple of miles radius or a couple of kilometres radius, you are not allowed to build any type of fast food restaurant. To explain this a bit more to us, joining us on the line is Catherine Riley, Policy Manager at the Irish Heart Foundation. You're very welcome along to 98 FM, Catherine.
Thank you very much and good morning.
As I said, it's something that I've been talking about for years, about childhood obesity. I feel sad, and it worries me when I see how many children are going around that are clearly overweight. And while it may not be a problem for them at the age of 7 or 8, the long-term effects are it's not to be undermined. How big of a problem, first of all, is this in Ireland?
This, I wouldn't necessarily just call it a problem. I'd actually call it a crisis, to be fair. We look back, just to put it into perspective. In 1975, 1% of children in the state are obese. Now we're in a situation where 1 in 4, so about 25% of children are overweight or obese. So, and we're finding that obesity is responsible, and this is scientifically proven, it's responsible for 65% of diabetes burden, 23% of heart disease, and between 7% and 41% of certain cancers. Now, Safe Food did excellent research last year on the costs of overweight and obesity, of childhood overweight and obesity, and they found that on the island of Ireland, over 85,000 children will die prematurely due to overweight and obesity. That is startling, so it is. And you have to consider that it's not an abstract figure. This is reality. And if 1 in 4 children are currently overweight and obese, they're going to grow into overweight and obese adults, and that has cost for our healthcare system, our social system. And as I said, 85,000 children, current children across the island, will die prematurely because of it. And that's why, as I said, it's not a problem, it's a crisis, and it needs to be dealt with and it does need to be dealt with as a whole system approach, and it needs to be dealt with urgently.
Okay, let's talk about the impact that fast food restaurants have on children when they are placed near schools. Now, the school this wasn't yesterday, Catherine, this was many years ago, but my school, I went to school in Churchtown, and beside my school, less than 500 metres from my school, McDonald's opened. It was the first drive-through McDonald's in Ireland. It was in Nook Grove Shopping Centre. It's still there now. My school was a stone throw away from that when I was a kid. I certainly didn't eat McDonald's there because I wasn't given the money by my parents. So what sort of impact does having these fast food restaurants near schools have on our children?
It has a huge impact. So just basically, just to say, first of all, we have to look at excess calorie consumption, and that will be the root cause of the obesity crisis. So if you consider that overweight or obese children will be consuming up to about 500 extra calories per day, depending on their age and sex, you have to look at where some of these calories are coming from. So why should we focus on these fast food outlets? But you have to consider now, the sheer, you mentioned, when you were growing up, it wasn't too common. But now the sheer density of these outlets makes it much easier to consume these extra calories too much, too often, and often there's limited nutritional information on the products, so it makes it even more difficult then to make actual informed choices difficult. So that we find that children then, when these outlets are near their schools, they're going to find it more difficult to make those healthier choices when it's constantly exposed to them, these constant fast food options, whether it's on their way to and from school, whether at lunchtime, or even just out with friends. So
okay, but where does parental control come into this? As I said, my school was right beside a McDonald's, but I never had McDonald's for lunch because my parents would give me a packed lunch and they wouldn't give me the money to buy these things. So surely some of this responsibility has to come down to the parents. If a parent is sending their 10-year-old child to school and giving them money knowing that they're going to go to a fast food restaurant at lunchtime, is that not the parents' fault as opposed to the fast food restaurant's fault?
Well, although personal and parental responsibility is important and you can't discount that, you have to talk about, and this is what's really important about the report that was launched yesterday, it talks about the obesogenic environment and the whole system and how that creates high levels of obesity in the population. So it's not just the ubiquity of fast food outlets and the fact that they're so prevalent. It's the fact that there's the advertising, the marketing. It's coming up on your screens. It's coming up on
everywhere.
Billboards.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. And then parents are being faced with that. They're being faced with the pester power, and it's very hard to resist. So we need to start, if we are serious about tackling the obesity crisis, you talked about that you've been banging this drum for a long time, and that's brilliant. But if we're serious about actually tackling the crisis, we have to move away from blaming parents and saying, look, stop giving your children money, and actually start to tackle the other whole system approaches
but
we do have control over. Do
doctors, and this is a debate myself and my wife had the other day, we regularly bring our young child, he's not even 4 yet, we bring him to the duty nurse in the local health centre, and weight often comes up because he was slightly underweight last year, and it was brought up, maybe we need to change his diet a bit. Do doctors and nurses, are they afraid to talk to parents about their children being overweight? Are they tippy-toeing around this? In other words, what I'm trying to say is, if I have a child who's 8 years of age and he's obese, you can see to look at him that he's obese, will a doctor say that to the parent when he goes into the doctor? Will the doctor turn around and say to a parent, listen, Mrs. O'Brien, your child is morbidly obese, you need to do something about this straight away? Or are doctors afraid to do that now?
I'm not sure. I don't have any personal experience with not having any children myself. But I think health professionals are very conscious of this. As I said, they're very conscious of the health impacts of this, particularly when you consider the increase in diabetes. And I know there was a study done a number of years ago that showed that children as young as 8 are actually presenting with high blood pressure. And medical professionals are not ignorant to the causes of these comorbidities, of diabetes, of high blood pressure. They know that it's down to diet, and I do believe that they do address it. But we know that obviously the health professionals themselves, they are overstretched in terms of the GP crisis, public health nurses. But there is a role obviously for public health professionals in that. But there's, as I said, it goes back to this whole system approach. So it's not just educating schools and families, but it's also looking at the whole broader spectrum of things that we can do. But yes, there is a role for medical professionals, but we have to make sure that it's done in a very careful way, that you're not stigmatising either and shaming people, because as the report outlined yesterday, that also leads to mental health issues. So we need to tackle this in a way that, yes, the severity and the fact this is a crisis is underlined and addressed, but that it's done in a way that isn't going to create further health difficulties in terms of mental health issues. And I know that the Temple Street, the Way to Go programme in Temple Street, for example, is a brilliant programme, and they work with families, and there's a range of medical professionals there, and they're providing a brilliant service. But they need support, and other supports need to be rolled out nationally, echoing the brilliant practice that's going on there.
Okay, one final question for you, Catherine. With 1/4 of children being overweight in Ireland, which is, it doesn't bear thinking about. If we do nothing about this and our whole lifestyle and attitude towards childhood obesity doesn't change, where will we be in 20 years' time when those children are grown up, when they are adults?
We will have greater incidences of heart attack, stroke, cancer, and comorbidities. It won't just be they'll have one disease, they'll have a number that will put a burden on our health services. So, we talk about the trolley crisis, overstretched primary care services. We will experience a vast increase in pressures on our health services, and that then will impact our the fabric of our social system, because if these young people today, when they become working adults, if the working population then aren't able to work, that's going to create economic crises in terms of people, if there's not enough people in the working population able to work, you'll have increase in disability costs.
It'll just spiral out of control.
Spiral, that's what I'm saying. Whole of system. We can't just consider this as, this is just a health issue, or this is just a family issue and just responsibility of parents. This is an absolute crisis right across society.
Catherine Riley, Policy Manager at the Irish Heart Foundation, thanks very much for joining us on 98 FM's Dublin Talks. A lot of your texts coming in on this that I want to read out in a second. Very quickly, Stephen, what do you want to say about this?
I was just saying, Jeremy, to myself there, James, there'll be people of my generation in their 80s and 90s burying their children that are in their 60s and 70s.
Absolutely.
Which is a very scary thing. So we're devolving now. Some people are devolving. Instead of getting healthier, they're getting worse. Now, I do believe that any initiative to help this epidemic, and it is an epidemic, should be commended. But do not all the schools now have mostly a healthy eating policy now, Jeremy?
Yes, they do. In fact, they're quite stringent on what you can bring into the class. I mean, kids.
So does that not say something in saying that? Well, it's not happening around schools. It's happening when they go home and at the weekends. You know yourself. I counted out yesterday. There was 10 of the main. I won't say the name of we all know the franchise.
Yes.
There's 10 of them within 10 minutes of my house drive.
Jeez, I'd love to live there. No, I'm only joking.
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get the point you're making.
It doesn't help that they're everywhere either, so we do need to get serious about it. Government needs to get serious and stop letting them pop up whatever they like.
And parents need to stop being lazy and just throw...
Oh, absolutely. It's 80% parents. It's 80% parents. Without a doubt, they need to say no to their children.
I mean, I know parents that bring their kids to fast food restaurants twice a week. It's ridiculous. It should be a treat. It should be something that only happens,
I'm sure there's plenty out there that's worse, Jeremy. Could go 5, 6, 7 even.
I'm sure there's kids living off fast food. Thanks very much for your call, Stephen. Let me read out a couple of your text messages. Now, a lot of people getting very annoyed about it. Don't ban fast food restaurants. Kids from my local schools are buying chicken fillet rolls in their local deli. Can you ban those as well? Education is the answer for kids and parents. That's true. If you're going to ban fast food restaurants, you may as well ban deli counters as well, because a chicken fillet roll is as bad for you as a quarter pounder. I went to the cinema the other day, and the main advertisement before the kids' movie was for a fast food restaurant. Go figure, says that person. So, just because some lazy parents won't feed their kids and can't be bothered to learn about nutrition, we have to shut down private companies. Oh, good idea. That's really what we need right now, says that person. And another one, your final text on that. Parental control is the only answer here. We shouldn't be all treated with kids just because some parents can't feed their kids properly. I agree with you. Here, completely agree with that. This all comes down to parents. They're getting the exercise in school. They're not allowed to eat crap and junk in school. It's when they get home and you allow little Johnny to drink a can of Coke at 5 years of age, or a packet of crisps or whatever. It's absolutely, it's ridiculous. And what you're doing is you're signing an early death warrant for your own child. You really need to cop on. It's pure laziness, in my opinion. It really is pure laziness. It's easy to cook vegetables. It's easy to give your child a bit of fruit. But no, a lot of parents just go for the easy option. Fish fingers, waffles in the oven, 15 minutes, it's grand. He's had his dinner, he's happy out. Now, thank you. I just needed to get that off my chest. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks. It's a Friday, so it's time for this Good News Friday. We love this part of the show every week. This is where we hear your good news. Is there something happening in your life that you want to share with us? Text or WhatsApp us right now, 087 798 98 98. One of you could win cinema tickets, by the way, if you happen to be a caller on the show for us. Text or WhatsApp 087 798 98 98. What is your good news? What has happened to you in the last couple of days or the last week that you want to share with us? It can be absolutely anything. It's Good News Friday. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks. We'll be taking your calls in a moment. Don't go away.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. New wood flooring fitted in time for Christmas. DesKelly.ie. 98 FM.
It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks, and it's Friday, which means Good News Friday. We love this part of the show. This is where you share your good news with us. If you have something that's happening in your life at the moment that's good, something that's after making you happy, maybe you won something, maybe it's your partner's birthday, maybe you're away on holidays, maybe you just got good news from your doctor, whatever it is, text or WhatsApp us right now, 087 798 98 98, or better still, call us on 6797 981. It's Good News Friday on 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Share your good news with us. You could win yourself cinema tickets as well if you happen to be a caller on the air. So share your good news with us and make everybody happy, because we love to hear good news. Good news puts a smile on your face. Now, let me go first of all to Lisa. How are you, Lisa?
I'm good. How are you?
Happy Friday.
Same to you guys.
Now, what's your good news?
My little boy's report from school yesterday, he's 6, and the teacher told me he's very intelligent.
Okay.
And he also has the reading skills, the capability of 5th class.
Now,
and his maths is 3rd and 4th. He's in 1st class.
Now, I remember when I was a kid, I used to dread the school reports coming home to my parents because they were always bad. So my parents never got a good report from me. But I can imagine it's a very proud moment, and you really puts a smile on your face when you get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's just wonderful to know that he is doing good in school.
So are you going to treat him to anything for the weekend, or what are you going to do?
Well, we treat him to a McDonald's afterwards, but we're going to go out at the weekend and buy him.
As per our conversation a few minutes ago. Where are you going to bring him for the weekend?
We don't know. We haven't decided. I think he just wants to go to the cinema.
Okay.
So cinema and maybe another McDonald's or something. I don't know.
If you're bringing them to the cinema at the moment, I'd recommend that movie that's out at the moment. We brought our young fella to it a couple of weeks ago. It's about Bigfoot. Is it called Littlefoot or something like that?
Oh, Littlefoot. Yeah,
Littlefoot. Yeah. That's what it's called.
Littlefoot. Yeah.
Oh my God, that movie is absolutely brilliant.
Right.
You know the way
go and do that tomorrow.
You know the way there's some kids' movies that you go to, and I normally fall asleep during a lot of the kids' movies because you're an adult and
absolutely
you can't relate to them. But this movie is actually it's enjoyable for all ages. Okay, Lisa.
Fantastic, great.
Have a great weekend. You sound like you sound like you're gleaming because of that. That's great news.
I am absolutely. Would you believe?
Thanks very much.
Thanks a million. Have a lovely weekend.
Cheers,
bye-bye.
Lisa. Bye-bye. 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp us 087 798 98 98 if you have some good news that you want to share with us, whatever it is. Text or WhatsApp 087 798 98 98. Now, I think joining us on the line should be my young fella. Is he there? Luke. Are you there, Luke?
Good morning, 98 FM listeners.
Good morning.
Coming to you live from Luke Mansions. Today, my Good News Friday is that I saw my big school for big boys and girls. It was so exciting, guys. I got to meet my teacher, the principal.
She was lovely, yeah.
Everyone was so nice. I got to see my classroom. I got to see where I will play at lunchtime with my friends. It's going to be so great, guys. Tell me what your Good News Friday is. Call 6797 981. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye-bye. 98 FM. Hashtag
Okay,
Dublin Talks.
Enough. You can never shut that child up. Thanks very much. That's my young fella sharing his good news. We did go to visit the school that he's going to be starting in, and they were all as nice as pie. They really were. So that's a big thing for us next year. Let me go to Natalie. How are you, Natalie?
How are you?
Welcome to 98 FM. How are things?
Grand. Not too bad.
Now, what is your good news?
My Good News Friday is that I'm on the way to the hotel because my brother Keith is getting married today.
Oh, brilliant. And is where's the ceremony taking place? Is it in the hotel or is it in the church?
Yes, in the hotel up in the Finstown Hotel in Lucan.
Okay. What time is it kicking off at?
At 3 o'clock. We're going up now to get pampered, to get the hair and makeup done.
Why, how long is it going to take to get that done?
A few hours to work some magic.
So it's for the whole day, is it one of these weekend weddings that's going to be?
A weekend wedding.
Yeah, people are doing that a lot now, aren't they? Where it's like the whole weekend.
Yeah, the whole weekend, yeah. So next day does be a big thing as well now.
So how many days is it going on for?
2, today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow. Well, 2 days. 2 days.
And then you never know what Sunday would happen.
So it's probably going to be. It's probably going to be a 3 day, is it?
More than likely.
And it's your brother that's getting married, is it?
Yeah.
And did you go on the hen night with your future sister-in-law?
Yeah, we went into town. We done a cocktail making class, so we're pro cocktail makers now as well.
Oh, can you do that? Can you?
Yeah, we done it in Harry's on the Green.
Oh, explain that to me. What happens? You go into the pub and they teach you how to make cocktails?
Yeah, you went into the pub and then they teach you how to make 3 different cocktails. There's 2 people and they teach you through all the steps and they give you all the equipment and then you get to drink them after, which was the best part.
Well, I have to say I didn't realise this happened because I'm a big...
Yeah, loads of places do it now as well.
Well, I'm a big fan of cocktails. I don't know how I missed that. So Harry's on the Green does it, and you can basically book it in, and they teach you how to make different cocktails, and then you get to drink them as well.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great... By the way, I'm not encouraging you to drink lots of cocktails, but it's something different to do, to actually bring your friends into town to actually do something like that.
Yeah, something different to do.
Anyway, enjoy the wedding. Say the best of luck to your brother and your future sister-in-law as well.
Thanks very much.
Sounds like it's going to be a great weekend. Thanks very much, Natalie. Keep the calls coming in, 6797 981. We're looking for your good news. That is something, by the way, that's a thing now, isn't it? I know that from friends of mine that have got married. Weddings are now 3-day events. They used to be a 1-day event, but they're now 3-day events. Takes up your whole weekend. Paula, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, how are things?
Grand.
Now, what's your good news you have for me?
I'm trying to hold on one sec.
Oh yeah, turn off the radio. I hate the sound of my own voice. Please. Thank you.
Now,
what's your good news, Paula? Jeez, how long does it take to turn a radio off? Hiya, Paula.
My good news is I was self-medicating with Nurofen Plus. I was in a coma. I went into multiple organ failure, and I'm 6 years in sobriety.
Wow! Oh my God, that's brilliant. Yes. That's brilliant news for you.
Shouldn't be sold over the counter, but I'm alive.
So you became addicted to painkillers, did you?
I became addicted to Nurofen Plus. I don't mind saying it on the radio.
Yeah, well, not everybody. I use them, and not everybody becomes addicted to them. You obviously did. And how long were you addicted to painkillers for?
I was addicted to painkillers for about 20 years.
My God! And now you're completely clear of the whole thing.
Completely clear. Yep.
And just as a matter of interest, Paula, how did you become addicted to painkillers? How does one become addicted to painkillers? Did you have a pain or something? Was it or?
just taken them for the usual, hangover, this, that and the other.
Yeah, for a headache or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I might say, like you said, not everybody becomes addicted, but there are people out there that don't know, you could become addicted to the codeine, and unfortunately I was one of those people, and I had a lot of ups and downs in my life, and I never took a street drug in my life. I ended up in a coma on life support, and I'm now clear of them for the last 6 years.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that, Paula. Thanks very much for sharing your good news with us. And as I said, that's the reason why any painkillers that have codeine in them, and it might be a discussion we have another day on the show, that's the reason that chemists ask you so many questions when you go in to buy any make of painkiller, and why they restrict the amount of painkillers you can have. As I said, I take painkillers for lots of different things, toothaches, headaches, any sort of ache, and I've never become addicted to them, but it just shows you how some people can become addicted to them. Anyway, thank you very much for all your calls, comments and texts. That has been your good news. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Don't go away. After the break, news out today that could really upset a lot of teenagers and parents. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Jeremy Dixon here for a Friday, and George is here with the top stories.
Thanks, Jeremy. Good morning. A team of Garda crime scene investigators have arrived at the scene of last night's shooting in Leixlip. Gardaí are appealing for witnesses after 50-year-old Clive Staunton was shot dead as he arrived home at around 9:15. The Dublin Fire Brigade has confirmed a fire at a house in Milltown has been put out. Crews remain at the scene to damp down any hot spots to prevent a rekindle of the fire. Gardaí are investigating a break-in at a Centra store in Stepside Village. It's the fourth break-in to take place in the village this month. And the Spice Girls have announced a Dublin gig. They'll perform in Croke Park on the 24th of May. Now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Welcome, it's the second hour of the show. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks live for a Friday till midday today with myself, Jeremy Dixon. As you heard there in 98 FM News, this is huge news for a lot of people, by the way. Not so much for me, but for a lot of people. They've been running around jumping up and down, and social media is awash with people who are excited about the fact that the Spice Girls have announced a Dublin gig. Now, it's been a long time since they played here, as you heard, over 20 years, and they are going to be playing Croke Park on May the 24th. I love summer gigs, I have to say. It's always great. Croke Park, a gig in Croke Park during the summer is always absolutely beautiful. And I just want to announce, because the announcement of the Spice Girls playing Croke Park on May the 24th, we are turning 98 FM Throwback into a non-stop Spice Girls station all day to celebrate. So 98 FM welcomes the Spice Girls to Croke Park. So we're spicing up your life on 98 FM Throwback. We're playing non-stop Spice Girls all day today. Our very own Rebecca Shackleton, who's a huge Spice Girls fan, is playing all their songs non-stop until midnight to celebrate. Honestly, she was jumping up and down in the office earlier on when she heard. So you can listen to 98 FM Throwbacks at 98fm.com or on the 98 FM app if you are a big Spice Girls fan. But I would imagine those tickets they'll sell out within seconds, because a lot of you women listening, and men I suppose as well, who grew up with the Spice Girls, this is really, really big news for you. May 24th, their Dublin gig at Croke Park. Now, on to matters a bit more serious. You may not be aware of this, but Ireland is one of the few countries in Europe where there are no age regulations around piercings and tattoos. Now, although most tattoo and piercing parlours won't pierce or tattoo a minor, someone who's 16, there's nothing against them doing it. There's no law against them. Hence the reason why there are so many teenage girls, I suppose, walking around with tongue piercings at the age of 16, and young fellas, boys of 15 and 16 with tattoos. Well, that could all change under proposed changes to our laws announced today, because teenagers getting tattoos and body piercings could be coming to an end with the introduction of a bill to ban the practice for anybody under the age of 18. Fianna Fáil TD Mary Butler has announced the regulation of intimate piercing and tattoo bill, and if the bill is passed, here's what will happen. It will make it illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to get a tattoo or an intimate piercing. So that means tongue or breasts. Now, they'll still be able to get their ears and noses and eyebrows pierced. That won't be covered by the law. But if this comes into law, a 16 or 17-year-old will not be allowed to go in and get their tongue or breast or any other intimate part of their body pierced. Question is, do you support this law coming in? Do you think that under 18s should be banned from getting tattoos or intimate piercings? The argument being, if you're 16 or 17 years of age, you're probably not mature enough to actually make that decision on whether or not you want to get a tattoo or a piercing. And I also want to do a social experiment with you as well. And I want to find out, okay? Just to find out how many people under the age of 18 were doing that. If you have a tattoo or a piercing, I want you to text me now. Text or WhatsApp 087 798 98 98. 087 798 98 98. Okay, and here's the question. I simply want you to text tattoo or piercing, okay, either of those words, and the age you were when you first got it done. Okay, so simply text the word tattoo or piercing and what age you were when you first got it done. Just to find out how many people actually got their first tattoo or piercing when they were under the age of 18. So, tattoo or piercing and the age you were when you first got it done. Text or WhatsApp us now, 0877 98 98 98. Better still, call us on 6797 981. Do you support this new law coming in? Should it be made illegal for anybody under the age of 18 to get a tattoo or an intimate piercing? Now, joining us on the line is a very well-known Dublin piercer by the name of Charlie. You're very welcome along to 98FM's Dublin Talks, Charlie.
Hello there, how are you?
Now, how do you react to this news being announced today that it could become illegal for under 18s to get a piercing or a tattoo?
Listen, by my opinion, the problem is not the age only. The problem is there is no regulation at all for tattoo and piercing studios here in Ireland. There are so unprofessional piercers around. It's like, what's the most dangerous? The bad doctor or the age of the person who goes to the hospital?
Well, let me ask you about it. Do you own a studio yourself, or do you go around?
Yes, I have 2 studios here in Ireland.
Okay, how many people come into you under the age of 18 looking for intimate body piercings?
So many. Every studio has different policy.
What is the youngest person that has come into you looking for a piercing?
With parents' permission, for ear lobe piercings from 6-7 years old, we can do it, but only with parents' permission.
Okay.
It depends on the piercings. Some piercings are dangerous, yes. Some piercings are so easy, and you don't really need to have permission. And we're
not talking about ear piercings. We're say, for instance, a tongue piercing. What is the youngest girl that has come into you looking for a tongue piercing done?
Many times ask even for from 12 years old, but we don't do, of course.
Sorry. You've had 12-year-old girls coming into you looking for their tongues pierced?
Many times.
With or without their parents?
Yes, and by myself, I don't do it.
Sorry, do they have their parents with them, or are they alone?
Sometimes alone, sometimes with parents.
Really?
Yes.
I find that so hard to believe.
Yes, it's crazy.
A 12-year-old
yes,
coming in with their mother or father into your piercing salon, yes, saying, will you pierce my daughter's tongue at 12 years of age?
Exactly.
Jeez,
it's totally wrong.
And what do you say to these parents?
I have to advise them that it's not right, all of this. I have to give my opinion and by my logic. After that, if they can go somewhere else to get this piercing, some studios do it on this age. Depends on the studio, depends on the policy of the studio.
So this law to be changed that would make it illegal for under 18s to get a intimate body piercing, do you support the law?
I think it's over 18. I think it's too much. Over 16, it's better. Actually, it depends on the placement. It's like if the customer has to get nipple piercing and it says 16 years old.
So do you think a 16-year-old should be able to get their tongue pierced without...
No. In my policy of the studio, we don't do tongues, genital, nipple piercings under 18.
Okay, so
other piercings, it's okay.
Okay, so nothing intimate, no intimate piercing for an under 18-year-old in your piercing studio at all.
Exactly.
And why is that? Can I ask you?
There are so many different things that can affect on piercings. For example, the nipple is not ready to get pierced if you are under 18. Still change, grow, became bigger, change, the person grow. After that, tongue piercing is one piercing that can swell a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they're very dangerous. Let me just read out one text for you, Charlie. Is that man absolutely serious? Are 12-year-olds looking for tongue piercings with their mothers? Who are these people? And that's completely true. 12-year-olds looking for tongue piercings.
Yes, many times. I had a customer who asked to get nipple piercing, and she was 11 years old, supporting from mother.
Sorry, she was 11 years of age.
11 years old with her mother.
Yes.
They asked me to do a nipple piercing.
A nipple piercing for an 11-year-old?
I didn't know what to do, to laugh.
Well, I would have rang the guards, have the mother arrested.
Exactly.
And did this mother, was this a Dublin mother, was it?
In Dublin, yes.
She's from Dublin?
Yes.
And she came into your piercing studio with her child of 11.
Exactly, child. And the child looks younger than age.
11 years of age.
When they asked me for nipple, I thought that I didn't hear very good. I didn't believe to my ears. Like, sorry?
I mean, an 11-year-old isn't even developed at that stage.
She's playing with toys.
She's a child.
She can't. Exactly. She's a child. I have 4 childs.
And she was deadly serious. I want my child's...
Yes. And I have my ID with me. Can I give my permission? Normally. It was a joke for me.
Thanks very much for joining us on the show, Charlie. Charlie's a piercer in Dublin, and one of the reputable ones, has to be said. But I have to say, that's after knocking me for 6. You know, you do this show for many, many years, and you hear different stories on the show, and you become immune to it a lot of the time because things no longer shock you anymore. That's after shocking me. I'm speechless that a mother would have brought her 11-year-old or 12-year-old child to her piercers to get their nipples done. I just don't understand the logic to it. And I have to be honest, that parent should be behind bars. That parent is out there, which is scary. And if they think that way about their child, what way are they going to raise that child? That child has absolutely no hope. But then you heard his other story of bringing a 12-year-old in. I want my daughter's 12-year-old my 12-year-old daughter's tongue pierced as well. Was he sure that it was her mother? Well, she said she had ID there, so you have to take her word for it. Anyway, 6797981. That's the extreme, by the way. We don't want to talk about that. I'm sure nobody would agree with that happening. That is the extreme. But do you support this new law that would ban under 18s from getting piercings or tattoos? Piercings in intimate places we're talking about. James, you're on 98 FM. How are you?
How you doing, Jeremy? Yep.
I have to say, I nearly fell off my seat after hearing that story.
So did I, after hearing that, yeah, as well.
What gives? Like, what is going on in these parents' minds?
Giving in to pure pressure with the kids, that's all it is.
But an 11-year-old?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Like,
I don't know how any man would even feel right, let alone even safe touching, doing that to an 11-year-old.
Well, you heard from him. You heard from Charlie himself. He felt very awkward about the whole conversation. But
of course he would, yeah.
But how is an 11 or 12-year-old even aware that a nipple piercing is such a thing?
Internet as well.
Yeah,
you look at Facebook and you look at that, like tattoo and piercings are all over Facebook.
I mean,
there's women out there that do live shows and talk about their tattoos as well, like all the piercings that they have.
But at 11 years of age, that child is so innocent. I mean, it's child abuse. There's no scare.
It is child abuse, yeah.
And that parent should not be raising a child. Anyway, James, you got your first tattoo at 16 years of age, and you think 18 is going a bit too far. This law is...
Yeah, for tattoos it is. Yeah, well, piercings is different. I don't know. I think... Well, I was 16 when I got my first tattoo done.
Okay, now don't mention the place where you got it done. Did you have a parent with you at the time?
No.
Okay, so you walked into this. Was it a reputable tattoo parlour?
It was actually, but he's closed down now. He's retired from doing it now. But no, it was reputable, all right.
Okay, so you went in. You were 16 years of age. Did he ever ask you your age, or did he ask you your age?
No, he didn't even ask me age. Just
really?
Yeah. Just asked what did I want done. Told him what I wanted done, and he's done it. And I've got a few tattoos done since then. I've got a few more.
How many years ago was this when you got the first one at 16?
What am I now? I'm 39 now.
Okay, so I would imagine. Well, part of the problem that Charlie was talking about, and this is part of the issue, is that there's no regulation around it. I mean, the man. But
even back then, there was nothing either. Anyway, so you could walk in and get your tattoo probably done when you're 15. I know lads that got them done when they're 15 as well, and there was nothing ever said.
Yeah, you'd like to think things have changed.
Things have changed now. I know you can't. Now, 16 years of age, you can't go in now and get a tattoo done. 15, you can't go in and get a tattoo done unless you have your parent there with you.
But you believe that 18 is pushing it too far?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if look from 16 onwards, yeah, if you have a parent there with you, I think it's fine. I don't think there should be a problem, but that's up to the parents as well. And then again, it's up to the peers. It's up to whoever's doing it. The job as well. If they don't feel comfortable doing it, well, just don't do it.
Okay, stay there for a second, please, James. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text or WhatsApp your comments to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Mark, you fully support this new law, is that right?
Hi, Jeremy, I do, yeah.
You started getting tattoos at the age of 15.
Yeah, 15. I walked into the shop, and same story there as the other fella just on the line there. I just walked into the shop, and no ID was asked for, didn't ask the age. I just picked out a tattoo in the little books that he had, asked where that I wanted, and that was it. Tattoo done.
And was it a visual tattoo, or what I mean was it on display, or could you hide it?
I could hide it, but it was on the arm, so if you wore a t-shirt, you could see it.
And what did your parents say when you arrived home at 15 with a tattoo?
Didn't say much. My mother has tattoos herself, so she didn't really say anything about it.
But I assume your point is that at 15 years of age, you didn't feel that you were mature enough at that age to actually have one of those.
See, a friend of mine got one the previous week, and then me just wanted to be one of the lads, so I went in and got one. And then 2 weeks later, I went in and got a second one, and then a month later, I got a third one, and it just kept going and going like that. But last year, I just sort of realised these are all stupid tattoos, and they're more embarrassing now than anything. So I had to get them all covered up with new tattoos, new designs, because just childish behaviour going in and getting a tattoo.
Yeah, because you're not mature at 15. There are 15-year-olds who think they know the world and they think they have all the answers and they think they know everything. But at 15 years of age, you are still immature. You don't know what you want at life. And I would imagine there's, from the female perspective, and we're going to talk to a girl in a second, I'd imagine there's a load of girls in their late 20s, early 30s now walking around with Chinese tattoos thinking, oh my God, the embarrassment of this. Because, of course, 15 years ago, every second girl in Dublin was getting a Chinese writing tattoo on them. They were getting them done at 15 and 16 years of age, and they thought it was the coolest thing ever. And now they're in their 30s and they're probably saying to themselves, Jesus, how stupid am I? So 18 years of age, you think, because you're just not mature below that age?
I think 18, because at least then you sort of have an idea of what you want to do in life, because there's been plenty of occasions where I wanted to go for jobs and the tattoos would have been on display, or even if you wanted to go to the beach or you want to go on a family holiday and stuff like that, and you have these stupid tattoos in your body, and you're more self-conscious about them than anything. So there is some embarrassing ones there, and like I said, so I had to go in and spend hundreds on getting these things covered up just to make them a bit acceptable. But I regret all of them. I wish I could go back and not have any tattoos on my body, because... So
what would you say to a 15 or 16-year-old listening to this, who at the moment, because the law hasn't come in, who may be considering getting one? What would you say to him?
I'd say just go in, have a look, but have a serious think about what do you want to do in life. If you're going to go and... If you're going to the gym, like me, like myself now, and you're in great shape, and you want to go for, there's been plenty of times where I've been offered jobs as a topless waiters and stuff like that. But then the tattoos hold you back. So if you're serious about your health and fitness and stuff like that, I'd recommend not getting anything on your body because it's just embarrassing and they look stupid.
So can I just ask you on the side note, a topless waiter, is there such a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Topless waiters and topless butlers and stuff like this, you know.
Okay, obviously not in restaurants. These are for
parties and private parties and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to get that call to work as a topless waiter. Thanks for your call, Mark. Joanne, how are you?
Hiya.
Now, Joanne, I was talking there a few minutes ago about all the girls years ago who thought it was cool to get Chinese writing tattoos all over them, and they thought
I'm one of them girls.
Ah, there you go. So you were one of what year was it?
I would have been 18 and I'm 27 now, so maybe 9 years ago.
Okay, so Chinese tattoo writings were still all the rage, and you were 16 at the time, and you thought this is the coolest thing ever. And where did you get the Chinese writing on you?
Down my back.
Down your back.
Yeah.
And at 16, did you need parental consent?
Well, my first tattoo, I was actually 16, and I got paw prints on my stomach, which I regret so much.
Well, I could have told you that before you got them done, Joanne.
I know. But like that, I've loads of tattoos now. I've got like maybe 15 tattoos, and I love them now. But I just think at 8, 16, 17, you don't have a clue what you want. You don't know anything about yourself. Like, I wanted to play by bunny at 16 years of age.
So Hugh Hefner is dead now. It's not even. What's the point?
Was like, my mum came with me and she was like, not in a million years are you getting that. So I got paw prints on my stomach, and I'm like, at least now I can kind of cover it up. Even on holidays, you can wear high-waisted bikinis and stuff like that. I regret it. Like,
so Are you embarrassed by the paw prints on your stomach?
Yeah, big time.
I mean, I'm embarrassed by them, and I don't even know you, Joanne. No, I'm only joking.
Yeah, if I could go back and change, I would. And I think 18 is. I even think 18 is still too young. I just think at 18, you just don't know what you want. I'm 27, sometimes I still don't know what I want. I just think, like, even if you have got parents, which you really, really think about, because that's going to be on you for life. And getting a removal is much worse than getting a tattoo. It really is. Like,
so. If you could talk to 16-year-old Joanne, if you could talk to yourself now at 16 years of age, and I'm sure it was a bit of peer pressure, was it from friends or?
It was just you wanted to fit in, you wanted to be cool, everybody was getting them, you know, and like back then, like tattoos were really cheap. I think I paid like €60 for them, do you know what I mean? Like it was not there, and nowadays, like as I said, I'm covered in tattoos. I have loads of tattoos now, and I love them, and I love all the ones I have. But I just think you really need to know what you want. Like, you really, really need to think about it.
So to speak to 16-year-old Joanne, you would say, don't be so stupid. Wait until you're a bit older. Yeah, but you can talk to a 16-year-old. 16-year-olds know everything.
No, you really can't. And I thought I knew everything. Like, I was like, I'm getting 4 paw prints on my stomach. I'm going to be mad. La, 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 la. I couldn't wait to wear a belly top and all. And now I'm like covering it up as much as I can.
So you support this law, and you think it should go a step further, do you?
Well, I just think 18 is a perfect day. Well, you know, at 18 you still don't want to know what you want, but, you know, do it at 18, and, you know, I just think 18 is perfect to do it at like that. My brother at 14 went in and got his name on his arm, across his arm, at 14 years of age. Now he's 31 now, but he's had that covered and he's had it taken off, and, you know, but 14 like that. So
and again, don't mention the tattoo parlour. I'm sure they're probably gone at this age. But a tattoo parlour in Dublin tattooed a 14-year-old boy.
3 of them. Him and his 2 friends all got the same tattoo. They all put it on their arm, their name. I was like, why do you need your name on your arm? Like,
you ever going to forget your own name?
Yeah. So my brother's had it now covered up in recent years. But like at 14, like seriously, you really don't know what you want.
Of course you don't. And the Chinese writing on your back that you're slightly embarrassed about now, are you getting that covered? Well,
no. You know what? That doesn't bother me as much. And I was on holidays 3 years ago, and I was in a Chinese restaurant, and the woman started saying, "Oh, Joanna," and I was like, "Like your name on your back." So I was really happy that I didn't say like chicken balls, or, you know,
because it could have said chicken balls on your back. Yeah. Can you imagine?
So I was happy that I said my name, so that kind of doesn't bother me as much. It's more the paw prints. I only had a baby 10 months ago, and they're not paw prints anymore.
Oh, they're bear prints. They're full bear prints.
They're saggy prints.
You'll have to send us in a photograph of the saggy paw prints, Joanne. You know, at least you can joke about it now.
Yeah. But like some people have like stuff on their neck or stuff, you know, that you can't hide. Like I know people that have stuff over their eyebrow, and you know what I mean. You can't get rid of that. Like, you know.
You see, that's another thing that people need to be aware of when getting tattoos when you're younger, before you've had babies, and like you were there, you know, you hadn't had babies at this stage, and you got you got the little paw prints on your belly, but then of course the baby comes along, you have stretch marks, you know, the whole thing. And this happened to a friend of mine. She got, years ago when she was a teenager, she got a dolphin on the side of her stomach. Because that was
the whale now, probably.
It looks like Orca, the killer whale. And not too all fault of her own. You know, you don't have the same figure when you're older. You know, she's after having 3 kids.
I didn't even have any hips. I was like flat.
But honestly, this dolphin. This dolphin now has stretch marks going across its head, and you need to take these things into consideration. Thanks very much for your call, Joanne. After the break, this is very interesting because we're going to talk to you, JD. Your daughter didn't get a job because of the tattoo she had. We'll come to JD in a sec there. And Amy, I'm going to come to you as well because your story is quite shocking. 14 years of age, you weren't asked for any ID.
No, I wasn't. No.
This is absolutely crazy. This is why we do need these regulations brought in. Sorry, JD, I'll come to you in a couple of minutes. This is going to be a wake-up call as well for you about what happened with JD's daughter and how a tattoo can really hold you back in your life. We're talking about the proposals made by Fianna Fáil TD Mary Butler, who's introduced a bill to regulate intimate piercing and tattooing, to make it illegal for under 18s to get a tattoo or an intimate piercing. And as you've heard there from Joanne, and we're going to hear after the break from these two callers, this is a good idea. Don't go away. You're going to want to hear these stories straight after the break.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. New carpets fitted in time for Christmas. DesKelly.ie. 98 FM.
It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Jeremy Dixon here for a Friday. Coming up in about 10 or so minutes, we'll be bringing you our quiz, Say What You See. So stay tuned for that. We have a great prize as well. At the moment, we're talking about a new bill by Fianna Fáil TD Mary Butler. It's all to do with intimate piercings and tattooing. And she wants to make it illegal for under 18s to get a tattoo or an intimate piercing. Believe it or not, there's no laws in Ireland at the moment that govern this. And as you've heard, the country is a mess when it comes to this type of thing. We've had 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds getting tattoos and piercings. And let me just read out a text message here. Lads, I just got a call to say that you were talking to a mother who got her 12-year-old's nipples pierced. Is this true? Please confirm. No, to that texter, that's not true. We spoke to a piercer at the start of this topic who said that recently a Dublin mother came into him with her 11-year-old daughter asking to have her 11-year-old's nipples pierced. That's what it was. Obviously, the piercer said, absolutely not, I'm not going to do this. But a lot of people are very upset about this. Some people don't believe it happened. I would believe it. He has no reason to make this up. But there you go, 11 years of age, wanting to get her nipples pierced. And this is a Dublin mother. Chances are she's listening to this at the moment. She shouldn't be raising a child. That child should be taken away from that mother. Because if she thinks it's appropriate to do that to an 11-year-old, she's not a fit parent as far as I'm concerned. Now, let me go to JD. How are you, JD?
Good morning, Jeremy. How are you, pal?
Good morning. Are you well?
Good, yeah. Come here, basically done with tattoos. My daughter made an application for an airline. I won't mention the airline.
Okay.
And because she has a tattoo on her arm, on the application says any tattoos on your arms do not apply.
And where on her arm was the tattoo?
Well, it's on a kind of up over the shoulder, arm kind of from there, you know what I mean? And there's one on between her elbow and her wrist. It's like a Chinese writing one as well, with her name in it, basically.
So it would have been visible had she been working for this airline?
Yes, and I said to her, when you go for the interview and wear a long short or long sleeve jumper, and the fact that their uniform is short sleeved, she couldn't do it.
So she lost out on a possible job opportunity.
Over the tattoo, yes. And she was 18 at the time.
Now, you can't blame the airline. I know the airline you're talking about, by the way, and they wouldn't be alone. Most airlines do have a rule about this. A friend of mine didn't get a job with Emirates Airlines because she had a visible tattoo. What age was she when she got that tattoo?
I'd say she was 16.
16. Did you let her get it done, or did you bring her along? Did you?
No, I didn't. No. She came home with it, basically.
Really? So again, there's someone of 16 years of age that was able to go to a tattoo parlour, get a visible tattoo on her arm at the age of 16 without your knowledge or without your consent.
Absolutely.
That must have annoyed you, did it? I'm sure you...
Well, it did, but at the same time, it's annoying her now that she got it because she wanted to be an air hostess. You know, that way, and now she cannot be what she wanted to be.
So she may have to get it removed.
Well, she's working now, but I don't think she'll go back to an air hostess because she's happy where she is. But it's just the fact that she wanted to be an air hostess and never probably thought of a future when she was getting this done.
That's,
you know what I mean?
Which is the whole point of our conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely, Jeremy.
At 16 and 15 years of age, you're not thinking of the future. You're not thinking of the jobs that you may want to do. So what would your warning be to 16 and 17-year-old girls who are listening to this now?
I know they all rush into things. They're teenagers. They want to be part of the gang and we're getting tattoos. Just try and think. Wait till 18, 19, after school years, college years, to realise what you're doing before you do anything, if you can. They won't listen to it, but you know yourself, Jeremy.
No. They just see you as an owl lad. Oh, there's an owl lad trying to ruin their fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thanks, JD. Let me go to Amy. A couple more calls on this. Amy, you, and again, I have to be very conscious of this, don't mention the piercing place that you went to, but when you were 14 years of age...
Yeah, 14.
You got a piercing place in Dublin, a piercing parlour. Did your belly button at 14?
Yeah.
Never.
I looked a lot older than my 14, so that kind of had a lot to do with it as well.
I know, but even if you looked older, you know, some girls at 14, they look older, but as soon as they open their mouth, as soon as you talk to them, you know that they're 14 years of age.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened when you went into the piercing studio.
I just went in, asked was there someone available. I was told to come back within 20 minutes. The girl was on her lunch break. So kind of off I went, had a ramble around the shops and wherever. I went back. I was asked to sign a form kind of just to say that I was in consultation and had anything kind of got infected or whatever, that I had to come back as such. Got the piercing and left within 10 minutes or so.
It was as simple as that?
As simple as that, yeah.
And has it held you back in any way in your life?
Well, no, because I mean, it would be always kind of like, so you would never kind of, unless you were on kind of holiday and what have you. But other than that, I mean, it's never on show. I mean, I wasn't even asked my age. I wasn't asked.
So you weren't asked anything. So you obviously support this law coming in, do you?
Oh, most definitely. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, again, I was 17 getting my fourth test.
Sorry, I can't hear you, Amy. Can you speak into the phone, please?
Yeah, sorry. I was 17 getting my first tattoo then, and again, wasn't asked my age, signed a form, and it was just done then. So yeah, I 100% support it. I think they're far too young. My brother was 19 getting a tattoo, and within 2 days he totally regretted it.
Well, when you hear this text message, I had a conversation with my son. He said he wants a tattoo when he'll be older. I said, remember, you were 3, you loved Bob the Builder, but then when you were 10, you loved Ben 10 and Pokemons. Now, imagine yourself with one of these on your body now. Your mind is changing, so how can you pick a picture that's going to be with you for the rest of your life? He was terrified, and I'm sure he will never have it done. That's a very good point. You go through so many changes in your life that things change, and your likes and your dislikes change. Francois, you believe that this law that's been that I'd imagine it will be brought in by Fianna Fáil TD Mary Butler, you believe that it will drive tattoo and piercing into the black market?
Definitely. If you have a look online right now, if you go to adverts at Dundee or even eBay, you can just go and buy any sort of tattoo machine from 50, 60 euros onwards. So you can get the basic packages, piercings as well. So these kids are just going to go online and buy all the machines, buy everything, and get their friends to do it. If some of them will even try and do it themselves.
I'm actually,
and that's on the other hand as well. Infections are going to set in, and that's when all these Hep C and all these things, they're all going to have little tattoo parties when they're 15 and 16.
No, I'm not. I have to be honest with you. This is news to me. I didn't realise these existed. But you can. I'm looking on one Irish website here, Killer Ink it's called, and you can buy a professional tattoo kit for €99.
There you go.
Now, I know nothing about tattoos. Is that professional tattoo kit? Is it a permanent tattoo kit? Is it?
Of course it is, yeah. You can buy needles online.
Okay, so it's not a henna tattoo that comes off after a couple of weeks. Absolutely. These are permanent tattoos.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to adverts, I was just on adverts and Dundee as well. You can buy the machines right there. So any child can literally just go online, take their mom and dad's card and just buy these things online. Piercing stuff as well. See, these kids, if they're really wanting to have a piercing, they just do it themselves. So that's where they'll be able the legislation will be at a stop end.
Okay, so it'll bring
around and go, well, who are we going to know exactly who went into a tattoo shop or a professional piercer who did it themselves.
Well, this is news to me. As I said, I'm looking at several different websites here now where you can, where with no ID, no regulation, you can actually go on. You can buy yourself a professional tattoo kit that you say it has the actual needles in it. And this one, sorry, I'm just reading along. This is a permanent tattooing kit, so it's just like the one that you would get. So I could literally buy that now. And
when you're 14 or 15, go ahead. 12, 15.
Yeah, I could buy this for €99 and put a tattoo on my 15-year-old cousin.
There you go.
That's scary. It just proves the need for these laws. But as you said, it may drive it into back streets, where people are having tattoo parties and so on. One last call on this. Amber, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
You have a tattoo disaster story. Go ahead.
Yeah, a friend of my auntie, she got a Tweety bird tattooed on sort of like her hip belly area, and she got pregnant then, and the head of the tattoo came off. So when she lost the baby weight and everything, she had like Tweety Bird's body and then Tweety Bird's head separate on her stomach.
Oh my God! I'm sure that wasn't good for her, was it?
Yeah, no, she was not happy about it at all, and there's nothing really she could do about it.
And what age was she when she got the tattoo?
When she got the tattoo, she was 18, as far as I know.
Okay, so she was fairly grown up.
Yeah.
And do you think the law needs to change?
I think, I think if you're 16, you're going to be 18 in 2 years. I have tattoos, and I got my first one when I was 17, and I could have waited until I was 18. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you really want it, it's going to be on your body for the rest of your life, so why not just hang on and have a think about it? If it sticks in your head for 2 years, then obviously it's something you really want to do.
Because unfortunately,
but I think on a whim.
Yeah, at 16 years of age, you know what you want, and you want it now. You don't want to hang on.
I know,
that's
exactly. Like, I was just encouraged always, when you're 18, you can do what you want, but for now, no, you're not getting that done. And I was like, fair enough, okay, whatever. My parents were fair enough about it, but I know there's kids that aren't going to pay attention to that at all.
Absolutely not. That is the problem. Thank you very much for your call, Amber. A lot of texts about the airline. That was discrimination, what they did to that girl's daughter, not even interviewing her because she had a visible tattoo. It's not discrimination. If a company, especially an airline, it is discrimination, but it's you have to understand why an airline would not want cabin crew covered in tattoos. And that's not just one airline. I assume the majority of airlines have that policy where they won't hire somebody, certainly for cabin crew, who has a visible tattoo. I'm sure if a pilot had a tattoo, that would be probably okay. But for cabin crew, do you really want someone... And I don't have a problem with tattoos. I don't have a problem at all. But do you want a member of cabin crew walking up and down the aisle on the plane with their arms covered in tattoos? You never see it. And that's the reason. That's the reason you never see it, is because passengers would react differently to it. Anyway, thank you very much for all your calls, your comments and your texts. It's 98FM's Dublin Talks. After the break, say what you see. How would you like to win yourself a €100 voucher for Des Kelly Interiors? 100 quid. It could be yours, could be going into your pocket at the end of the quiz. All you need to do is be a caller on the quiz and win. 6797981 is our telephone number. 6797981 is our telephone number. Call us now. The lines are open. The quiz starts in just a moment.
98FM. 98FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. Delivering your new bed in time for Christmas. DesKelly.ie. 98FM.
It's 98FM's Dublin Talks. We're about to play our quiz, Say What You See. But I have big news for you before that. Big news, Darren. 98FM's Darren's Cleary is here as well.
Do we have a drum roll?
Darren, I'll tell you what you want. What you
really, really want?
Well, I'll tell you what you want. You want Spice Girls tickets, don't you?
I actually do.
Yeah, it's a big news announced today that the Spice Girls are coming to Croke Park on May the 24th. 98FM, we don't scrimp and save in this radio station. We give listeners what they really, really want. And you know what I have? Well, I don't have them personally.
Tell me what you really, really want.
Do you know what 98FM has? It has tickets to go and see the Spice Girls.
No.
Yes.
They'll be sold out in an instant when they go on sale.
Yes, that's why we have them. So you can get them before they go on sale. Tickets go on sale next Thursday, but here at 98FM, we want you to win today. Zigga-zigga-ga.
Today?
Zigga-zigga.
So you can get them before they actually go on sale.
Yes, here's how you can do it. You need to keep it here at 98FM all day. I know you will anyway, but I just need to remind you that listening out for the Spice Girls song here at 98FM. And when you hear a Spice Girls song, text or WhatsApp SPICE and your details to 0877 98 98 98. You'll go into a draw with Dara Quilty on 98FM's Big Ride Home before 7 p.m. You'll find out if you're a winner. So only when you hear a Spice Girls song, okay? So don't do it now.
Yeah, sorry, there's a load of text coming in already. Could you stop right now? Stop right now.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really didn't know where you were leaving that.
Yeah, no, it's good, wasn't it?
Very good. Okay. Okay.
No text.
If you want to be a winner for the Spice Girls tickets, keep it here at 98FM all day. When will you hear a Spice Girls song? Text Spice and your details to 0877 98 98 98. You'll find out if you're a winner on Dara Quilty with the Big Ride Home before 7 p.m. And I can't think of any more Spice Girls.
Can I ask you a question, Jeremy?
Oh, here we go. Yes.
You're going to Crow Park. Say you'll be there.
Jessica, how are you?
Hi there.
How are things? You're welcome to 98FM's Dublin Talks. It's Say What You See. You a big Spice Girls fan, by the way?
Not really, no.
Oh, jeez.
So, as there Spice Girls are, Spice Girls jokes, have they got too much for you?
Yeah, I think they probably have too much. Goodbye, Darren.
Oh.
Jessica, do you want to play with Darren or Jeremy?
Darren, please.
Okay, Darren, 1 minute on the clock. Get as high score as you can when you see the first one. And your 1 minute starts now. There's your first one.
Oh, this is a Spice Girls song about doing something to your life.
Sorry?
You'll have to say it better.
Spice up your life is the right answer.
Try move to somewhere with better coverage because your phone is breaking up.
Yeah, like Dublin. Here we go. Here's your next one.
This is something you do around Christmas when you want to get presents. You
Right, you live.
No, but whose leg will you sit on?
Nobody's, I hope.
Santa's.
Yeah, so what are you doing? You're sitting on Santa's leg. Bing.
No, Santa's on his what?
Yeah.
You don't sit on Santa's leg. You're sitting on his
lap.
His lap is lap. Yeah, that's the right one. Here is your next one.
Oh, it's a song, Another Brick in the Wall. It's a line from that song, a very famous line.
Sorry,
before that, right before Leave Those Kids Alone.
It's the first. No,
I can't hear a word she's saying.
It's the first line in the song, Jessica. And she's gone. The mobile is gone. You know, it always fascinates me how someone can get a mobile phone signal in Dublin in this day and age, because that's where she is. She got a score of 2. Anyway, let's go to our next contestant, and that is Joanna. How are you, Joanna? You're on 98FM. How are things?
I'm very well, lad. Thanks.
Joanna, I love you.
Would you please stop?
Thank you. I love you too. And it's We Don't Need No Education.
Give her a beat.
Well done.
Leave those kids alone.
Joanna's on 1.
You're up to 1, Joanna. By the way, if you want to play the quiz, call us now. 6797 981. 6797 981. You're playing for a €100 voucher for Des Kelly Interiors. The score to beat is 2 at the moment, so you'll have a good chance of beating that. You have to call us, not by text. 6797 981. Now, who would you like to play with, Joanna?
Did I not already say it? I said Jeremy.
Oh, you said Jeremy. Okay, well, you're up to 1 already with that answer. You 1 minute.
You just wasted my time there.
Well, no, the clock hasn't started. Calm down.
Calm down, Joanna.
Okay.
Chill your beans.
Your 1 minute starts now. Here is your first one. It's a slang expression for means I'm doing nothing. I'm doing
feckle.
No, and it's also something you do in the gym when you get down on your hunkers.
Down on your knees?
No, what you do when you have a weight on your back and you're in the gym and you do a...
Under pressure?
No, under pressure. What? No, when you're in the gym and you're kneeling down with a weight on your back, what's that called?
I have no idea.
Come on.
I don't go to the gym, I have no idea.
I know, but even if you don't go to the gym...
okay, a weight on your back.
So you put the weight on your back and you're in front of the mirror, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see my videos of this all the time, and you get down on your hunkers and then you come back up. What's that called?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joanna.
This isn't going well.
I can't help you, Joanna. I'm sorry.
1. A grand total of 1.
Who doesn't know what that is? Lorraine, when you go to the gym and you put a weight on your back and you kneel down, what's it called?
A squat.
A squat. So if you're doing nothing, it's a... That person is doing blank squat.
What does Ned Flanders say in The Simpsons?
I haven't a clue.
Oh my word.
Okay, the answer is diddly squat, Lorraine. Diddly squat.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to play with Darren or Jeremy?
Darren, please.
Okay. 1 minute on the clock. You have a score of 2 to beat.
It's a low bar we've set.
Very low bar. Your time starts now. Here's your first one.
Oh, this was Brian Cowan's nickname.
It's all people from Offaly have this nickname.
Oh, really? I thought it was just Brian Cowan.
No, anybody from Offaly would have this nickname. And it's,
he was the bad guy in Back to the Future as well.
My God, what is wrong with people today?
No.
Nothing.
I think it stands for...
Rhymes with Wiffo.
Yeah. Sorry, what is it?
Biffo.
It's the right answer. Yes, a Biffo. You're up to one. Here is the next one.
Oh, this is the man who tells Thomas the Tank Engine where to go.
Fat controller.
Yes. The fat controller. He doesn't tell him literally where to go.
Yes, he does. It's the controller.
Here is your next one. This will put you in the lead, by the way.
Oh, this is an expression for, getting down and getting dirty. You're doing a bit of
And it's also a tissue.
What?
Yeah, another name for a tissue.
Whatever you want to do in your own time with tissues is your own business.
Hanky.
Hanky Panky is the right. Yes, you're up to 3. Here is your next one.
Oh, this is something that Colin Meaney says in The Snapper to Mr. B.
When he has a garden
He's
shears.
got the garden shears in his hand, he says...
I know what I'd like to do with these.
Yeah, but finish the sentence.
Chop, chop.
No, not chop, chop.
Not chop, chop. Close enough, though.
What is it?
Snip, snip.
Snip, snip. Yes, well,
we got there.
Bit an error over time, but well done. You were in the lead, Lorraine, with a score of 4. Well done to you. Let's go to our next contestant, and that is Barry. Barry, how are you, Barry? You're on 98 FM.
How you doing, guys?
Now, Barry, I have big hopes for you. I think you're going to do really well in the quiz, okay?
What?
Are you there, Barry?
Yeah.
Now, would you like to play with Darren or Jeremy?
Darren is also... it's normally good.
Yes, Barry, you've listened before. You know how this works.
Yeah, okay. I know. Yeah.
You and I are winning this, Barry, together.
Yeah, I'll give you the keys to my house, by the way. The keys
what
to my
house?
Yeah, no, I'm talking to Darren. I'll give you the keys to my house. Okay, Barry, you have 1 minute on the clock, and your 1 minute starts.
Okay, Darren, go on.
Now, here's your first one.
This is the guy in Karate Kid. He's the trainer, Mr.
Mitchell Versace.
Mr. Muchachi.
No. You're barking up the right tree, but it's not Mr.
Muchachi. Yeah.
No, not even in the same forest. Never mind the right tree.
Mr. about a forest.
Stop! You're confusing him. It's not Mr.
Miyachi.
No, close enough. You're getting there.
Yes, Mr. Miyachi.
No,
yes, he drives cars and everything.
Yeah, no, he does drive a car, but his name isn't Mr. Muchachi.
He shines cars. No,
Mr. Miyachi.
No, not Mr. Miyachi. No, you're nearly there.
You're almost there.
Come on.
Give a hint.
What's the man's name? No, it's not. If it wasn't Mr. Miyachi 2 minutes ago, it's still not Mr. Miyachi. What's his name?
It rhymes with Bayagi.
If it's not Mr. Miyachi.
What is the man's name that trains Daniel's son in The Karate Kid? Come on.
Mr. Miyachi.
It wasn't Mr. Miyachi the first time, Barry. It's not going to be Mr. Miyachi the 57th time you say it.
Let's just ask him one more time. Barry, what is the name of the man who trains Daniel in The Karate Kid?
Mr. Michi.
Mr. Michi.
I
love this quiz sometimes.
Barry just hung up.
Yeah, Mr.
He's given up.
I've given up.
I had high hopes for Barry. I really thought we were going to win together.
Aisling, how are you? You're very welcome.
Hi there, Terry. How's it going? Is it Miyagi?
Yes! Get Barry back on.
Mr. Miyagi. You're up to 1. Would you like to play with Darren or myself?
Yourself, Terry.
Okay, 1 minute on the clock and your time starts now. Here's your first one. This is another way of saying how is your dad? But it's also expression for a bit of... How's your dad?
How's your father?
How's your father is the right answer. Well done. You're up to 2. Here's your next one. This was the woman from Willy Wonka. I think she was purple. Oh no, she wasn't purple. She was the one that was a real spoiled little brat. Remember her?
Oh yeah.
I want a golden ticket now.
Yeah, I can see her as well.
She sounds like Jeremy Dixon, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does actually. Come on, what is it?
You got me in there. I can see her, and I can't think of her name.
It's also a wart on your foot, I think.
Oh, Veruca.
Veruca Salt. Yeah, it's the right answer. You're up to 3. Here's your next one. Bob's your uncle and...
Mary's your mother.
Mary's your mother, but maybe she is. No, Bob's your uncle and... Come on, Ash.
They're also a pack that you wear around your waist.
Yeah, Bob's your uncle and...
I don't know.
What kind of pack? The pack you wear around your waist in the 90s, what are they called?
Oh, a bum bag thing.
Yeah, but
okay, so
Fanny's your auntie.
Fanny's your auntie.
Well, the time is up. Bob's your uncle and Bum's your auntie.
No, Fanny's your auntie, is it?
She is saying Fanny's your auntie. You better give her Fanny's your auntie.
You have to.
You have to. Give her
Okay,
Fanny's
Aisling, you know what? We'll call a draw and we'll do a draw off the air. Well done. You've got a score of 4
great.
as well, Aisling. That means
Happy
Lorraine and Aisling were the joint winners today. We'll do a draw off the air we don't have time for a
There's one
tiebreaker,
more.
lads.
Tiebreaker.
We don't have time.
Tiebreaker.
We'll do a tiebreaker after the show. That means with a score of 4, Lorraine and Aisling are joint winners. We will do a draw off the air and we'll give that prize to that person. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt is the answer. And to a lot of people who are very upset about that, the man's name again is Mr. Miyagi.
Not Michachi.
No, Miyagi. That brings Dublin Talks to a close for this Friday. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, stay tuned to 98 FM. We have Spice Girls tickets to be won between now and 7 o'clock. This is where you can get them on 98 FM. Listen now for the Spice Girls song. And Barry's up next with some great tunes, including these.
The greatest day of our lives. 'Cause you're hot and you're cold, you're yes and you're no, you're in and you're out. La, 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 yeah.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. New wood flooring fitted in time for Christmas. DesKelly.ie. 98 FM.